Alrighty, we are live. Paul Keating, thank you so much for joining me, dude. How are you doing?
Stoked to be on a podcast where I can just dump my brain into my words and to you, to the internet, to the world.
Yeah, man. I searched you up on the podcast platforms. I couldn't find anything out there. So, have you done this before? Is this the first time for you?
I've done a couple podcasts, but just small ones. So
Awesome.
yeah,
Hey, episode 3, dude. So we're keeping
exactly.
we're keeping the pattern alive.
Got to start
So,
somewhere.
yes, dude. So, tell me about you, man. The first 2 episodes of this, I have gotten immediately deep into the weeds with a bunch of hardcore Bitcoiners about just like the madness of the world and just smack down on altcoins. And this is why Bitcoin's so massive. And for you, you're just someone that uses Bitcoin as part of your life. It's like this is the way that we're moving to where I don't see you just like going crazy or ranting obsessively about it. You're just like, I'm buying some coconuts with Bitcoin in Costa Rica. It's awesome.
Exactly.
So why don't you just start from the beginning, dude? Tell us your story, where you came from, and how you got here.
All right, that's a long one, but I'll do a 2 minute version. See what happens.
Oh no, we are open here, dude. Go
Okay,
crazy.
nice. Well, I'm originally from San Diego. Grew up in a small Christian family and went to private Christian school all my life, college, everything. Played baseball in college. I'm obsessed with baseball. And then I found surfing when I was 13. Did all my schooling, got that out of the way. Do I regret going to school? No. Did it really do anything for me job wise? Anything? Absolutely not. I'm probably not going to send my kids to school the same way I did, but that's another topic. After school, I hit the road. I was like, whoa, people aren't giving me things to do anymore. I have to go find things to do that I'm interested in and actually make some money as well, which is another thing. But actually important to note, right when I graduated, there's actually two events, and I guess here we are already in Bitcoin, that led me to Bitcoin. Maybe one of the last days of grad school, I got a degree in organizational psychology. Fancy. It's the study of how to make work not suck. But one of the last days in class, I was like, okay, now I got to make money. How am I going to do this? How can I make money quick? Of course, right? And my buddy shows me this chart of Ethereum. It did like a flash crash and then just a spike. And I was like, oh my God, I got to get into crypto. So, right after I graduated, my grandma gave me some money for graduating, and I just bought Bitcoin with a promise to myself because I understood compound interest that I would never sell. And also, right when I graduated, I got struck with an autoimmune disease that we still don't really have a label for. We don't really know what to call it. We call it reactive arthritis, and that completely just wiped me. Like I was 20 pounds skinnier than what I am now. I couldn't walk. My joints just swelled up and I couldn't surf. And life, this is right when I was supposed to take over the world, right? This is right. I was free from school, going to go travel, visit other countries. I hadn't done much traveling yet, 24. And just my entire like ego just died in those 3 months. I was bedridden. I mean, I'm so lucky to have a great family and they took care of me. But also, I used that time to go down the Bitcoin rabbit hole, and it was 2017. The madness was starting. I was a genius. I was still trading shitcoins, but with that one promise to never sell. And since then, I've kind of just actually going to school completely and studying work and humans at work completely convinced me that going to work is it's a very important decision, obviously, and it basically scared me from getting and seeking really a real job. So I would just contract work. I would do some modeling work every once in a while, commercials. I love that. I would move refrigerators. It's a funny story, but to college campuses, and that's kind of the way I'd get my survival money, and I'd use that to go travel. And I guess one of my recent huge adventures that led me to where I am today is when I took off to Costa Rica. Um, and I think one of the things, again, back in Bitcoin, that gave me the courage to do this was that I had a savings account, that nobody could rug, that nobody could touch. And I had my own private keys secured the way I secure them. And just knowing that gave me some sort of like a confidence to go explore the world. And, and that's something a key thing I think people are missing that gives them the ability to go. But anyways, I set off on that journey. I made a GoFundMe. I filled up my truck with baseball gear for the Nicaraguans and just sent it in my old 1985 truck. And I think that was good that I had that old truck because, it's not really a flag. Like, look at this Californian coming down here. Anyways, I had no problems. And I got to Nicaragua, gave away all the gear. People were so stoked. People were just throwing coconuts or oranges on the side of the road. And I'd stop by.
He has one on hand.
Yeah, of course. I'll be drinking this soon. But yeah, and I'd deliver them the gear. But important to note that on my way to Nicaragua, I stopped in El Salvador, and that was the first time that I met Bitcoiners. And oh my God, my life changed.
Wow, that's perfect, dude.
Yeah.
What a perfect place to really see it right away.
Yeah, I timed it out for the first Bitcoin conference down there right after they made it legal tender, with kind of a side mission in the back of my head, like maybe I'll find work, or maybe I'll find cool friends, or maybe I'll finally meet Bitcoiners and see what they're like. And yeah, I ended up getting to meet some cool people like John Vallis, and I don't know, having those conversations was really confirming to me that this isn't some weird internet cult. Well, it is, but but the people in the flesh are really cool. So
I'm with Corey, man. I say Bitcoiners aren't in a cult. We're the ones escaping the cult. And
wow.
Just that alone,
Yeah.
it just gives to the outsiders who haven't done the research on the problem that is being solved. Mm-hmm. It looks like a cult. And I mean, when you're at this conference, when you're in like a conference environment and everyone's like, just preaching this money, it's, of course, everyone thinks it, but as soon as you start meeting these people, like you said, John Vallis I'm so glad you shouted him out. He is one of my favorite dudes in the space because he is so focused on people and how the people aspect is so important in this, and how Bitcoin really changes people's lives in big ways. And I can say that for me, just knowing, and like you said earlier, just having a savings account that can't be rugged and it's completely your own, protected by practically impenetrable cryptography, and no one can take it from you ever. It's you, and you have a fixed percentage of the cap supply forever, and nothing can change that. Like, that's insane. And a lot of the outsiders don't think about how much that changes your psychology and your brain, the way that you feel about the world, and how safe you feel taking new risks, doing things you normally wouldn't do because you were scared of like financial problems or censorship or something like that. So go a bit deeper into how it's changed your psychology to really get more into Bitcoin.
It's just, you can't unsee it, right? You can't unsee it. And like, it's so crazy to me how I think about it so much. Is it because it's my entire worth? And that's why I'm so much on Team Bitcoin, that I'm just blind to everything else? Or it is this truth that you just can't unsee, and that's why it just like literally almost guides their every action and how you relate with people. And I don't know, because the money to buy this coconut, right? It's just, money is how we communicate and how we value every purchase and every decision you make. And it kind of led me to think like, I want to live a freaking cool life. So I don't care. Like, I just want to go do and create and make a life that sounds like a fun way to live, like, and not be trapped in this other world where you just can't ever get ahead because the money's just always being inflated away. And your savings, and I mean, and down here, like, people don't have savings accounts, and the money just inflates away. And I wonder how much, if we give them an option, like, savings, it shouldn't be this privileged thing. It should just be, I save my money and then I could use it for a rainy day or to go make a better life one day. Like, I go to work, I save money, and then make a better life. Whereas now it's just, I see a lot of people here, like locals and things, and the amount of hope that Bitcoin gives me for a better world just makes me so bullish. And that's another reason why I like Bitcoiners, because they're always so bullish on life. And these other people are just always doom and gloom about how bad everything is. But Bitcoin, I don't know, I hope it contributes to a better life for everybody around the world. And I wonder how much it could change people's thinking around here, like locals and people that maybe don't have much hope to maybe escape and make a better life. And if they can just start to learn Bitcoin, how that will change their psychology and how they spend their time, whether it's, on TikTok or actually, producing and saving money and working towards that better life. Because right now, I don't think they know they have that option. So that's why I love spending sats, because every little touch piece that they see Bitcoin might eventually lead them down some rabbit holes and start thinking differently about the way the whole system works.
Totally. And it feels good to, some people swear by not spending any, but I love giving it to people because that's helping new people come into the space and learn about it and start their journey of just becoming more optimistic and happy about the future and feel free again.
Yeah, I mean,
absolutely.
We got to be the change that we want to see. And if we want to live in a hyper Bitcoinized world, we got to freaking spend Bitcoin, right?
Yep. All right. So we did that Bitcoiner thing where we said we weren't going to talk about Bitcoin and we immediately started talking about Bitcoin. So
yeah, forget Bitcoin.
So let's go back. So you're in Nicaragua. You're in Nicaragua giving baseball gear to the community there. And so we still got there to Costa Rica. So let's get back on the story.
Yeah. Let's do that. Well, let's go. Yeah, let's tell some fun stories. So I gave the baseball gear away. I slept on the side of the road of a fruit stand once with this family that took me in. It was getting dark. I was like, I never had a plan on where to sleep. I can't plan. It's not my. I did Jordan Peterson's test of what is it, like, understand myself. I'm a 0 in conscientiousness. Right. I don't know. I see it as a superpower, because things that might affect some people, it just goes right off my head. But anyways, so yeah, I'm sleeping on the side of the road with Nicaraguans in random hostels, whatever. I got absolutely mobbed when I went to a baseball field. It was awesome. Like, I filmed it, but I wish I had a filmer. It was so great. I got to play around with them. But then there was a side mission for a girl in Costa Rica that I had met in a yoga teacher training that I did. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go down there to go see about this chick. But key part of the story here, I stopped in Santa Teresa because there's a Bitcoin meetup there, and I got to meet more Bitcoiners. And when things went south with the chick, I moved back to Santa Teresa and got to meet more Bitcoiners. Ended up meeting the guy I work for now, Paul, in the water. And yeah.
Like out surfing in the wild.
No, wait, that's a lie. So here's how I met Paul Saladino. I had actually followed him because, like I said earlier, I had an autoimmune condition. So that kind of sent me down a diet rabbit hole. And I asked my dad for my birthday before I left to go down to Central America, like, can I get some supplements? And I got Liver King supplements. So when I saw Paul
Rest
at the
in
gym,
peace.
Yeah, R.I.P. So I see Paul in the gym, and I go and I rip out all my supplements in my backpack. I'm like, yo, Paul, look at this. So that's how I first met Paul, and then I figured out where he surfed, and I went and surfed with him every day. We started having a good relationship. I'd followed him since before Rogan. It was kind of like a destiny thing if I look back and think about it. It's pretty rad. He needed help. I was getting freaking
pretty bullish
broke.
on Paul's, dude.
Yeah, bullish on the Pauls, bullish on Jacks.
We have a council of Bitcoin Bens going on, and there's some new challengers coming, so we need to make sure we're sharp.
Yes. Oh yeah, you're one of the Bens. Holy crap.
Yeah, dude. So you met Paul. That was in Costa Rica.
That was in Costa Rica.
This was what month again?
This is somewhere around the end of 2021, early 22.
Okay. And so you just stayed there in Costa Rica from there. So that just became your new home.
Yeah, one other thing I'd like to mention, shout out to Breedlove. I did this experiment. He's like, I remember him talking, I think maybe even on my way down to Costa Rica, of course, I was just slamming the Bitcoin podcast. I read The Sovereign Individual on the way down, or listened to it.
Did you listen while driving to Nicaragua too?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, talk about time to listen and learn. That's
it was perfect. I mean, I've been deep in the rabbit hole since 2017, but just never got to meet people yet. But anyways, yeah. Oh yeah, the Breedlove, the experiment he talked about was just, how would you live your life as a billionaire? But not even just that. How would you live every single second of the day? So I started to imagine that, and really started to I'm getting a little woo-woo these days, but really started to picture, what is my ideal life and how can I get there? And I realized when I got back to Santa Teresa that, well, maybe I realized before, is just my billionaire life is surfing in warm water every morning with cool people. And I found a bunch of cool people and was surfing warm water waves every day. And the other piece of that was to do something important with my time, besides like staying, and along with staying fit and eating right. And all those kind of came together with Paul, and now I'm doing something I think is important, along with working with my own stuff and whatnot. But yeah, so I'm pretty stoked with how I'm spending every day of my life. And then also the girl piece. So I just got engaged, and I met this
Congrats,
beautiful
dude.
Italian.
I'm so
Thank
happy for you.
I met this beautiful Italian woman in Santa Teresa, and it was like game over once we first made eye contact.
Go travel, ladies and gentlemen.
You go travel.
Meet your
we never
person.
know. Now, I mean, of course, all this sounds like so great, and there's always trials and tribulations, but that's also what strengthens a relationship. But yeah, it was cool. So I even let's go. Yeah, I even went on the show called Fuckboy Island.
That was that was the name of it?
Yeah, it was called F Boy Island. At the beginning, it was untitled dating show on major network, and I was like, well, do that which will bring me the most luck. I'm sitting around at home not doing much, so I was like, I'm gonna go on this island and try this. But then, yeah, anyways, I was a nice guy on the show.
See what happens.
Yeah. But yeah, so I think I'm the first one engaged from that show. But
And this isn't the first TV show you've been on. I want to hear about your when I was going through your YouTube channel, you were on a baking show.
oh yeah, man, that was ridiculous. Yeah, I love the camera, man. I don't know. So pretty much any opportunity I get to go on camera, I'll just say, sounds fun, and I'll send it. So, yeah, that was just a ridiculous baking show. I play the surfer stoner really well, and they wanted me to just go do that. And
They all need one of those to get the ratings.
I'm so down to just typecast me, and I'm there.
Amazing.
I want to make that happen. So they flew me out to New York, and I just baked, and I won a couple of the early competitions. I was so stoked, and then I just completely blew it on these. Oh, I don't even remember what dessert it was. It was so complex, like macaroons or some shit. I don't know. But it was fun.
I feel like we keep barely touching on the surfer aspect, but that's a major part of your life. So
Yeah.
tell me about like when you started surfing and how that has really shaped who you became.
Surfing ruined my life. Surfing absolutely screwed me, because now you got this thing called surfing, and the waves are always best in the morning, and then there are always waves around the world. So now you got to figure out how you're going to make yourself financially able to go travel to all these places in the world and take every single morning off to go surf every day, because if you don't go surf, your brain's going to be messed up. So yeah, it's just, surfing's the ultimate. I think a lot of people that surf, they kind of come to that same conclusion. It's the best. And it doesn't get better unless you're improving, and you have to go improve every single day, or else it's just not going to be as fun. Like I was just in Europe for two months and didn't surf much, and came back and I'm like feeling it in my arms, like, oh my gosh, I'm out of shape. Damn it, why was I out there? But yeah, it's the best. And literally everywhere I've traveled has been so surf oriented, and I just don't know what to do with myself if I'm not surfing in the morning. Yeah, it's the best. And it's funny too, because any surfer out there you can just connect with. One of my favorite like travel tips I like to give people is just go find something that you're good at and go do that, and you'll find friends. So for me, I just go like, surf and make friends in the water, or go play ping pong, and instant friends. Even chess. Well, I was lonely once, so I just put a chessboard on my table, and then it's another language. All these sports and games are just different languages to connect to people. So the chessboard is another one.
Surfing is so well known for just being a place where there are just zero assholes. It's just people having a good time and enjoying nature. And why do you think, looking back, I would say there were these surfer eras where the surf life was a big deal, like the 80s. It just comes to mind as you always see these old pictures of a bunch of guys with surfboards.
Yeah.
And you don't really see that anymore. So I feel like there is a lot to dig into there about how just having a life and activity that's centered around exercise and being in nature and being with people is so powerful in just keeping people happy. Like it's far more
Yeah.
than just a little activity to do. And have you heard of the Earthing movie? Does that ring a bell?
Yeah, I just watched it.
Did you watch it? Let's go.
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
that blew my mind, dude. I'm
Yeah.
gonna put that in the show notes because I watched that and I was just blown away at how real and how data driven this is, that just being connected to the earth, whether it be your feet planted in the dirt or the sand or the water, like the water is even more conductive. So when
Yeah,
you're in the
exactly.
ocean,
Supercharger.
you're being supercharged by these ions from the earth that are sucking the inflammation out of you. They're sucking all this negative energy out of you, quite literally. And
Yeah.
speaking of getting woo woo earlier, it sounds woo woo. And I thought that this was just something like, oh, like you're connected with
No,
the earth, bro. You know, like it's good
exactly.
for you. But it's so real. And there are many parts of that movie that show if you hold this little, I don't remember what it was tracking, some very real little tracker,
Yeah.
that when your foot touches the ground, energy flows through you in a
Yeah, I
whole
forget what that
different way.
voltmeter conductivity something. I forget what it's called, but yeah, it's a trip.
Wild,
Yeah.
wild.
I mean, I don't think surfing's getting any less popular. I think it's getting more popular. So I'm not
Oh, really?
sure.
That's
Yeah,
good.
it's crazy. Well, yeah, no, it's kind of bad, honestly. Don't surf. Just kidding. But the one thing is maybe people don't, or something. I think it's important to prioritize fun. I feel like. I mean, maybe that sounds privileged, but also it's got to happen. Like, for me, I just made it really a priority. Like, I need to do this. Like, this is what I want to do. And then it's funny because every morning we're out there with a few friends, and I wonder how much of things like this is simulating. Is this simulating hunting? Like, and how much stuff it's doing for my brain. Like, oh my gosh, wave, dopamine, boom, drop down, scare, fear, brain chemicals happen, and then all those brain chemicals and things that happen is kind of maybe evolutionary appropriate in some way. Like, oh, we're gonna go for a hunt. We're gonna go, go find berries or something. Oh, look at this berry, but that could be a little bit crazy. But I have just recently been down the earthing rabbit hole. I always thought that was just a nerd term for hippies, and I had not been wearing shoes. Like even on that show I went on, I didn't wear shoes, and everybody gave me so much shit. I was like, yo, I'm not gonna wear shoes on the beach. Are you kidding me, you freaking nerds? Like,
It's an
but
island.
yeah, it's an island. I'm not wearing shoes. No shot. But yeah, so much. You just get so much more information through your feet. And then there's this electrical piece to it. What? I've been going down these rabbit holes too about like the sun on your skin and your eyes and Jack Cruz, and it goes deep. And then diet as well. Or is it just all placebo? I don't even know anymore. But I do feel like if we go farther, if we try to live like our ancestors did, that's probably the best way to be as a human for so many reasons.
I have been doing the exact same thing, really learning about what are these things that the earth is giving us that we have forgotten about as a species. And one of the big things in that movie is the fact that most people today, and it used kids as an example because it's even more extreme, they wake up, they put shoes on, these little foot covering prisons.
Yeah.
They go to school, they sit in a classroom, they walk home, and they're back. They've never touched the ground. And in old times, everyone was touching the ground all the time. And that's
exposing yourself to so many different bacteria, which is good for your gut.
And there's no sun either in that typical day. They don't get any sun. They're just going straight into the box.
Trapped in a blue light classroom.
Mm-hmm. And you got to ask these questions. How is that affecting people at this early critical age? And that's not even getting into the whole diet aspect of the fact that these cafeterias are just serving like seed oil platters of garbage and processed junk. And I just read recently that Lunchables is going to become an option for cafeterias across New York. I think it was New York specifically.
Yeah, New York's all about like meatless Fridays and vegan this and that. It's absurd.
It's really it's scary, dude, because things are just getting more and more dire for the most important people in society. All these kids that
Yeah,
are just they're becoming lab rats for the lobbyists and all the powers of big pharma. And I
seems
guess
that
that's a
way.
good transition because you mentioned Paul Saladino earlier, how you two are connected. You're working for him. So tell me about your rabbit hole journey into just the nutrition side, because that did that really change the way that you saw food and how you started eating?
Yes and no. Like, yeah, I've done a lot of diet experiments before I met Paul and everything. I've tried just for fun. I tried vegan, even though I knew it wasn't it, but I felt fine. I tried 30 days of carnivore, and that is tough. Have you ever tried that?
So when I was in Mexico, that was the biggest push I've made, and I had steak every night, steak with a bunch of butter and a little bit of fruit on the side. So I would
Okay.
say pretty much animal based, like steak and fruit
Okay.
for maybe about 6 months. I was 90% strict with the
Okay.
occasional taco.
Oh my God, I don't know how
I
you
will never
resist
say
the
I'm
taco,
perfect.
bro. Yeah.
Wasn't
And I don't
perfect,
really
but
know if perfection is what to aim for. I think it can get, the thing about diet can get pretty toxic pretty quick. Because
Mhm.
now you see all these foods and you're like hating yourself if you ate that food, and that can't be helpful because now your brain's like sending signals maybe to your body that's like, this isn't healthy, this is bad, then you're beating yourself up. But yeah, I've always been pretty curious about diet and been running experiments on myself. And I've never really had like the complete, oh my God, this is the way, and I'm never going to change it. Um, but I do feel pretty good on a animal-based diet. Just got back from Italy where I just was pretty much baguette based in France. And you can see there was a couple differences in the bagno, but besides that, I felt like okay. um, but yeah, I mean, being intentional is powerful, and like it's something that's really important to me, and that I'll definitely continue to do for the rest of my life. Um, and I see like living with Paul like this example of what diet can do. Like, and I'm so, because I used to be so scared of not being able to play. I just love playing, and seeing him, and he's 46 now in such great shape. Like, that's going to be me too. So I'm excited for that.
I think experimenting with your own body is so critical for everyone. Did you see
Yeah.
my message I just sent?
Yeah. It's the fan.
Live test, everyone. I just sent him a message. Secretly says like, I hear a clicking sound. If that's
That's too
not
bad. It's
fixable,
too
it's
hot.
fine.
I'm leaving that fan on.
Yeah, do your thing. It's the we'll tell everyone it's the sound of your sats increasing.
Let's
Deal
hope
with
so.
it.
Yeah. This what is it? The fountain app that streams the sats while you're
Yes,
podcasting.
that's the sound of streaming. By the
Uh,
way, boost a podcast. Yeah, but experimenting on yourself, and that is one of the things I saw from your YouTube channel that I think is amazing.
yeah.
Is you really use content creation as a way of challenging yourself,
Yep.
testing your boundaries, and keeping yourself accountable to having a great time and doing cool shit. I would say. Do you
Yeah,
call that
I
pretty
use it too
accurate?
because I don't know. Maybe I'm just not very disciplined, but the whole social contract thing keeps me locked. Like if I say I'm going to do something and tell it to all my followers, like I have to do it now, and then you're screwed, and then you have to go learn and figure it out and suffer and everything.
I'm the same way. I think that's
Yeah,
a really powerful use of social media that people don't
yeah,
talk much about. Is it's a great way to keep yourself accountable and just make sure that you're doing cool things all the time that are entertaining. You know,
yeah. Right.
we've
People
all
love.
watched.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
people love following a story too, and it's just like, all right, great. So it's a win-win. More people want to
Mhm.
watch me, and I'm learning, and yeah, it's a win-win.
I really think, and this is one of my hot takes, is that I think social media gets too bad of a rap. I think that a lot of people think it's automatically just bad for people that we have social media, but I think that it certainly has a bad side. There's the algorithms trying to make people angry at each other. There's the time wasting
Yeah.
cat videos people spend hours and hours of their life on just to use as like sort of an escape from the real world. But I'm curious what your thoughts are on this. I am bullish on the human social media connection in the coming years. I think that I think we're almost the same age, millennial, right? Are you 28, 29?
I'm
We're both
30 in
late.
like 7 days. What day is
Oh
it?
yeah, I'm about to turn
6 days.
29. So oh, dude, happy early birthday. Let's go.
Happy birthday.
So we're both right on that youngest edge of millennial. I'm like the last year. So I think that millennials have finally gotten through the phase of just having social media be a negative in their life, of just feeling jealous of other people. I think that we're starting to learn as our brain is developing and we're seeing the world around us, figuring out these problems we need to fix.
Yeah.
I think we're starting to learn how to really use social media to start fucking shit up in a positive way and making change.
Yeah, that's
And
a good bullish take.
A social good in terms of, making noise, exposing evil, but also from within, like we were talking about earlier, of how it's challenging ourselves to be better and do more cool things and live the best life we possibly can. Would you say you've seen a similar pattern there? Because that's what I've been noticing.
I love that. I mean, it's funny because I talk to people about social media. I was just, on that living in van life, and you talk to like the hippies in vans, and they're like, "Oh, I hate social media. I don't have it." But it definitely seems like a I don't even know if I want to say net positive, but it's definitely necessary. And yeah, I've learned so much and got so much from Twitter. That's how I've used to get or still really do get my information. And I'm so grateful that people take the time and then they, compose that information and then they put it out there. And I actually put your website, Why Bitcoin Only, on my link tree because it's such a good compilation. Yeah, that's amazing. That's a good use of social media, right? It's a great use. I try to think of it for my own pages. Like, I'm kind of goofy and I like trying to maybe entertain people or just be funny. And I'm like, sometimes I just feel like I maybe don't have my real why yet, but then sometimes I'll be so like, oh, Bitcoin, just get as much attention to myself as I can, then just sneak the Bitcoin in there, right? and then you got the Gen Zers that are figuring out how to make bazillions of dollars on TikTok selling stuff. And that's just, as we adapt as humans, we're going to find new ways to make money and contribute. And those are different ways. And whether it's good, bad, I don't know, like, because I think a lot in algorithm as I try to make the most viral videos possible. We do make the most viral videos possible with Paul. And a lot of our thinking is how to make this so succinct, which is good too. And, the most information in a catchy way possible. And I mean, my hope is that it's good information and it's making the world a better place, but it's also, it's not a podcast where you can give all your thoughts. Like, people just are their attention spans are so shot. And that's definitely not a good thing. So that's something that's a negative of social media for sure. But yeah, I would say specifically
like TikTok and the things that really are pushing like super tiny bite-sized content. I would say that deserves a lot more scrutiny in my opinion, because I've seen people just, when you see people like going through their TikTok feed, it's like depressing.
Do you ever watch people on their phones?
Yes, I'm a huge people watcher. I'm sure you are too. You're big on psychology.
It is so crazy watching people on their phones and they go from Instagram story, close it, to Twitter, open, nothing, boom, back to Instagram,
refresh.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that is scary and so toxic.
Yeah,
for so many reasons. Could it be the blue light we're always looking at too? Like, I don't know.
Oh man, speaking of blue light, we're just going all over the place here. That's going to be that kind of rip, which I love. Yeah. Speaking of blue light, I've been trying so hard to push my friends to look into the blue light blockers on phones and laptops. And I've been using that for several years, nice. And I swear by it. For anyone who doesn't know what that is, it's essentially, maybe I can even show it on here.
I got these scissors here because I'm opening my coconut, by the way.
Do it, yeah. It's essentially a way that you can just make your phone screen and every one of your screens, I can't figure it out here, just red tinted or yellow tinted. Yellow tinted during the day. You got it? There it is. Oh, perfect.
I got the triple click.
You're ready. Oh, dude, next level.
I usually have it on night shift. I mean, there was a time where I was working a lot and I started to get these headaches. And I was like, oh my God. No. And I was wondering if it was from the light or something to do with diet or whatnot, but yeah.
For me,
I see you got your shirt off in the sun right now. That's the way.
Yeah, dude. For me, it was, I used to play tons of video games when I was younger.
Yeah.
And I remember, after just marathoning Call of Duty for 12 hours, I would you could actually feel your eyes burning a little bit.
Yeah.
And I haven't had that feeling in years, despite spending tons of time, grinding on social media, on my computer, on my phone. Like, I do a lot of work with technology, but I haven't felt that feeling in the longest time because I always have that filter up. And I really think that's what it is.
That's
Is
a cool
just
anecdote,
the fact
yeah.
that you're not blasting blue light into your eyes, because that's what's bad. And
Yeah.
it also disrupts your sleep.
Yeah, definitely.
I speaking of watching people on their phones, when I see people staring at their phone, just their face is lit up like a Christmas tree and it's
my
like
gosh.
they're about to go to bed.
Yeah.
It's the worst thing ever because it's just completely ruining your natural circadian rhythm.
Yeah. Which I think we're just like on the tip of the iceberg of how important that is.
Yeah. Yeah. And having a window in my room that lights up my room in the morning has become a new must for every hostel or co-living space I live in.
The freaking hostel, I moved to my new place tomorrow, and the room I have is so dark in the morning, and there's no way to change it, and it pisses me off. And I keep waking up a little late, and then just like, where am I? So it's so necessary. That's
It's
another
rough,
thing.
dude.
Down here, it's so nice. Like, oh my gosh, my circadian, it's so easy. It's like when it gets to 8 o'clock here, it's just so dark. And there's no way you're going to do anything. And then you're asleep, and then you're awake at sunrise. It's the best. Love it down here.
Because you're on sort of a surfer clock. Because you said that there's a lot of early mornings. So have you become more of a morning person as you've gotten more into surfing?
Oh, totally. Like, you just have to, because the FOMO is what gets you out of bed. The FOMO, like, how is it? How is it right now? Okay, we gotta go. Gotta go. Straight to the beach, straight in the water. Wakes you up too. It's the best. Better than coffee for sure.
Yeah, first, that's awesome, man. All right, so I took a little note here. I don't know if you even caught this yesterday, but I totally borked my scheduling. I had you down for like one yesterday, so I was like ready to go, and I looked at my messages and I was like, shit, it's tomorrow. So I took that as a message from the universe that I need to look more into your content because
Nice.
I hadn't done that before. I was just gonna send it and just chat, but
Yeah.
so I went through your YouTube videos, and there were just a few things that I noticed that I thought I would bring up and we could talk a little bit about.
Sweet.
The first one, we've already gone over how you use it as accountability tool and just make yourself do cool stuff all the time. Like,
Yeah.
you got up and decided you want to run a barefoot marathon with zero training, and
Yeah.
you took a video of it, and you're like, screw it, let's do it.
Yeah.
Personally, I wouldn't do that unless I had like a way to record it and show it to the world, because then it's like an extra boost. You know,
Yeah.
it helps you do those fun things. So
Yeah,
thought that
definitely.
was awesome. Another thing that I loved was how you always have a way of turning bad situations into a good one. And here's the example I caught that made me think of this was the Albuquerque ditch skate video. Do you remember
Oh, yeah. I ate shit.
that? For anyone that hasn't watched, basically can you hear that? The planes? There's
What's
all
up,
kinds of
plane?
planes here. Yeah. Basically, you're skating around this ditch and you eat shit on a little thing. I don't even
Stop
know what
rock.
it was. Yeah.
That ditch in Albuquerque is so fun. I want to go back so bad. Trying to bring
You
Paul
ended-
there.
You ended up making the whole video into a can't touch this, and you edited it in a way that, I
Yeah.
touched it and I fell.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming it was originally going to be this boring video of just skating around, and something bad happened. You crashed,
Boom.
and you're like, let's make this something fun.
Yep.
Turn it into something fun. And I'm so about that, dude. That's a big
Yeah.
way that I live my life, is that every single thing that goes wrong can be turned into a positive with the right mindset, no matter how
Yeah,
bad
I mean,
it is.
you could just dwell on it, or you could just say Pura Vida, and then, roll with it and make it, and not just drive yourself into a hole like crying about it for as long as you can. You just got to keep moving forwards. I mean, yeah, life's gonna throw a bunch of those stop rocks at you, but just maybe they're learning rocks, not just eat shit rocks. So, yeah.
You just mentioned Pura Vida, and you post that everywhere. So
Everywhere.
tell me what that means and what it means to you.
Yeah, Pura Vida means just about everything. It's hide, buy, but it's just like this reminder that, yeah, we're not here for a long time. Pure life is what it means. And so no matter what happens, because, okay, I get back to Costa Rica. Francis lost my motorcycle. I I left my truck with somebody and it broke. Like, I just had a mountain of I call them Pura Vida problems. Like, it's going to happen when you live in the jungle. Like, instead of just dwelling on them, like, okay, like freaking out, like getting all cortisoled out, all stressed out about how to fix it, you just Pura Vida and move along, figure it out. And just, if you let it stress you out, then you're just not going to be having a good time while you're on the earth for this short amount of time. So just move along. It's kind of just this reminder to move along with a smile. Simply put, I guess.
What's the direct translation? Is it just like the pure life? Is that what it means?
Pure life. Yeah.
And it's
I actually don't really know the history
Rican
of it.
Thing, right?
It's Costa Rica's like motto. It's just everywhere. Everybody says Pura Vida, and it's so cool. It's just every taxi you get in, every fruit stand guy you see, you buy your coconuts, Pura Vida, and then you say bye, like, Pura Vida.
So it's like the aloha.
Yeah, it's just aloha.
Yeah.
Just
it's
sending
like
good vibes.
Hello, goodbye, how are you?
Yeah.
You all just use the same motto. That's beautiful.
And oh shits too. Pura Vida. Yeah.
That's amazing.
So I try to remember that. And maybe it's like, I feel like by now, because I say it so much, and it's just ingrained in my thinking, and it's definitely a good thing.
Yeah.
It's funny being in Italy, I kept going to say it, but then wait, no.
Hey, they've got to hear it first somewhere. It's those touch points we're talking about. Just start it. Start the trend.
Yes. Yeah, I was stoked because like on Noster it became a thing. PV, it pretty much like memed that into existence. That started from here.
So I need to hear a deeper dive on Costa Rica. Like it sounds like such an incredible place. There's so many people that are ending up there. You mentioned Francis is there. I saw him in your videos. I know that Shannon Michaela has been there. She just went through
truck.
her. What's that?
That's who I gave my truck to. It wasn't their fault, but
I feel like when you're going to go live in a jungle, there's just going to be things that are going to happen.
Exactly.
There's
and
less
you need a team.
Structure.
Yeah.
That's why you need
so
good
cool.
people around you, because you're going to experience more like issues. You don't have as much access and infrastructure to like these instant fixes of like Amazon and calling customer service and things of
exactly, bro.
A bit north.
Exactly.
You got to learn how to deal with things a bit more.
Yeah. It's pretty funny.
Which
no
I think
matter
is
what, you're going to get struck by these Pura Vida problems. But anywhere you're going to live is obviously going to have trade-offs, and I trade off some convenience for good waves. And it is cool. The people that move down here, there's a big wave of people that moved down here after COVID and whatnot. But like, it kind of does bring some like-minded people.
Mm-hmm.
So whether we're onto the truth or not, at least we get along.
Even if you're not on the truth, I think as long as you have great people and nature and access to good food and good waves, as you said, people are going to figure it out. You're going to find probably a better truth than what the rest of the world thinks is the truth. I mean,
my opinion, yes. It's great. Like, I'm so bullish.
Truth.
Exactly. I'm so bullish on all of Latin America. I mean, it's pretty cool to see Bitcoin spreading here. I mean, I literally use it like almost every day. Even just buy my coffee in the morning, buy Bitcoin, like I'm living it. It's so cool. I know it's kind of still foreign to a lot of Bitcoiners, but I'd encourage all of them. Well, actually, my biggest thing for Bitcoiners is to go find your people, your cult members, but just go find your people and connect, because that's another node. That's another node you can work with and start building and connect with, and being part of Bitcoin and holding it and, believing in it, if you want to say that. But yeah, it's just instant connection to these other humans that see everything the same way or similar ways. And it's just such a shortcut to finding a great community down here. But that can happen wherever you are, whether you're stuck in fiat land, like I was up in LA and Newport and whatever. I wish I found my fellow Bitcoiners out there too, right? But now I have a bunch of more nodes to go seek them out and find them, which is rad. So when I go home, I'm definitely going to meet up with some.
And that's another benefit of social media, is it just gives you access to unlimited people that have a foundation similar to you of understanding what the problem is, completing all the levels of the confusion that so many people have to do, which is I didn't mention, but you did, altcoins. I shitcoined my ass off for a few years before I started too. And, you can easily catch those people that are still on that level on Twitter.
Yeah. It's like another woo-woo. It's like a different frequency. I don't know, man.
But once you see people have just Bitcoin, it's like, all right, they've figured that out. They've gone through that.
Yeah.
80 or at least 80. I think I put up a poll. And if I remember correctly, around 70% of people have gone through that
Mm-hmm.
altcoin phase. I would argue it's probably higher than that, and people are just embarrassed they don't want
Liars.
to admit it.
Of course you touch shitcoins.
Only the people who have a really deep knowledge of economics or Austrian thinking are able to not get distracted by the shiny objects, from my experience. Because
Yeah, well, not
us
anymore.
smooth brains, we see these things that are all, advertising these new utilities. And I was like, that sounds awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I just fell right into it.
Totally awesome.
Because I didn't have that background of economics and understanding money. And this is why I beat the Bitcoin standard into people's heads, because that really goes through the history of why there is only going to be one winner. If thousands of years of history say anything, it's that there's going to be one winner. Everything else is garbage. It's not really decentralized. And it's best to just accept that this is the thing that's going to change the world. It's going to be awesome. A lot of the shitcoiners think that it would be so sad if there's only one winner, but that is the most beautiful thing, because then everyone can come together
and save their money.
Exactly, and be able to save your money, and it all these beautiful second order effects bloom from that, of people feeling more free, having more freedom to do what they want to do. Like these people at these markets in Costa Rica. Tell me about how people are using it and how the locals that you've met have taken it on. I'm sure there's probably mixed views there. I know El Salvador is certainly mixed. There's people who love it, and there's people who are like, I don't know about this. How's that like in Costa Rica?
First, I think one of the main shifts is that whole low time preference piece. And thinking that way will change every single way, the way you spend every day and the way you spend your money. And I feel like that's maybe the most important piece in fixing humans. Instead of drinking all the beer with your money, you might save it for, so that completely changes.
Drink the coconuts instead, or save
drink
it.
the coconuts, and that's what led me to seek out the most healthy diet I could find and all that. But locally, it's funny. All the expats that move here, definite pre-coiners, but they just don't have the urge, and they don't see the potential world-changing benefits of Bitcoin, but they're all pre-coiners. But it's still so hard to just get my gringo friends to freaking hop on their Cash App and just send some sats to the locals. It's so funny. In terms of local adoption, you see, it starts, there's a lot of restaurants that accept it. So there's just so many touch points. And then, I always ask if I could tip in Bitcoin, and then sometimes they'll have a wallet, sometimes not. But I think it's just going to keep compounding over time. I know one of the restaurants here stacked a whole freaking coin. And we just had dinner with Paco the other night, all the Bitcoin Jungle crew, and we
let's go, dude. I love Paco.
Finally got to Orange Pill, or at least have them start accepting Bitcoin at the best restaurant around here. Sorry to the other ones. It's pretty good. Save us. But and Lee was saying at first they wanted to figure out how to change it to fiat, but then the guy actually said, I'm just going to save it now, actually. So in terms of locals, it's hard, but they always, I'll go to get my beard trimmed or something like that. Oh, can I pay you in Bitcoin? They're like, how do I cash this out? And it's not, but we're working on a solution for that. So I think it's just going to, now that you have the option to cash it out, but then you might see number go up once, and then you're going to start getting curious and start thinking a different way. So poco a poco, all the Bitcoiners down here are just making it happen. And all those touch points just really do compound, in my opinion. All those little signs living in the back of your head, Bitcoin. Because, most people know what Bitcoin is now. And
practically everybody has heard of it.
Yeah.
So the foundation is there that it exists.
Yeah.
And now the next step is to stomp out all the confusion that's piled on about the altcoins. Pretty much any time that I have mentioned Bitcoin to new people, they're like, oh, isn't that one of those crypto things? So, I mean, there's been so much pumped in, and not to mention even the fiat media saying, it's all bad, it's a Ponzi.
Hey, that's kind of shifting a little bit.
I'll take any progress I can, and I think that at some point they're going to have no choice but to accept it and go with it. And I do agree, since more of these big money managers have started capitulating, it seems like the media is starting to follow suit and just get a little bit less nasty, and then soon they're going to be saying oh, it's kind of a good thing. I mean, it just takes time for people to learn.
Stuff anymore though? So it's
No, not anyone of our generation, but I'm
Yeah,
happy that it'll be harder to get more older folks on, including like
yeah,
my own family. You know, it's tricky because when I try to get these Bitcoin content at them, they're sick of it at this point. Like they're just so tired of me talking about it
I feel
that
it.
they need the TV to agree for
Yeah,
there to be a level of trust there.
yeah. My normie audience on like Instagram, they just nah, you know,
Yeah.
just
Same
not.
for me. For me, it's completely different worlds from Twitter to Instagram.
Yeah,
Instagram is pretty much
so
all of
funny.
my friends that I've just met through school and life
Yeah,
and photography, which is another thing I like to do. And it's fun to use that as sort of a testing ground to throw out
definitely.
little seeds of ideas and see which ones people really dig
Well,
into, which ones
all
they
the
like to
seeds
listen to.
matter, and
Hmm.
actually, Jack Dorsey, he says the biggest threat to Bitcoin is just people not caring, and
Hmm.
same with Noster and stuff like that. And when it's so funny how the price like is just when it's flat or when it's down, it just super affects the way we are. But we gotta keep seed planting, keep throwing those things out there and watching them grow every once in a while. So yeah, I
And
gotta
the only
keep
trend
after
that
that.
really matters when it comes to that is the fact that once you get into Bitcoin, there's no going back. Like
Yeah,
nobody I've met at Bitcoin conferences or meetups anywhere are about to change their minds. It's
yeah,
really become this driving force of passion for people because people need something to focus on in order to stay energetic and focused on making the world better because
now, do you think that's
everyone wants to
focus or
make
it's
the world
hope?
better. Well, yeah, they need hope too. They need something to
Yeah,
be optimistic about. So there's definitely certain people that are into that. Like it gives them something to look forward to, and in a world of depression and sadness, that's what they hold on to. It's like that hope. And
yeah,
it's just this big orange ball of goodness that gives people hope and it gives people something to focus on. It's entertaining. Maybe you just like the memes. That's great too.
that's
Maybe
great.
you need just a way to pay people without government permission. You need
Yeah,
peer-to-peer transactions for your market, and you got censored somewhere else because you said something that the government didn't like on social media. There's so many different angles to come at it that
yeah,
we love all of them. And the more that there are, the better. And it just continues the train rolling forward. And I think that human nature is just going to completely win this because
I think
everyone that
so.
joins in
Hope so.
has a new perspective and new audience of friends
Hmm.
and new part of their network. They're a new node, like you said. So
Yeah,
I'm so optimistic about it. Sometimes maybe overly optimistic, but I'm just gonna let that ride, baby, because you need
yeah,
optimism.
definitely.
People need it. People need too much optimism sometimes just to like really just
Hopium.
to counteract the over negativity that there is in the world.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what I cling on to. And, it's funny, I kind of been testing my ideas because I told you earlier I grew up a really like hardcore, Christian guy, like, and I've kind of unworked that little bit and still like a really solid piece of my foundation, but maybe I see things a little bit differently now. And, but is it, then I maybe have like replaced a little bit of that hope and I've put it into Bitcoin, and that sounds kind of weird, but it's also awesome to see like the two working together. Like there's a bunch of Christian Bitcoiners out there, and maybe I'll kind of refine that too one day. But I don't know. It's like that hope piece is really important. I mean, Obama ran on hope, right?
It's a
But
powerful word. It gets people going.
yeah, the whole
And,
Star Wars hope, a new
mhm.
hope.
And there's Christian Bitcoiners, there's Muslim Bitcoiners, there's agnostic Bitcoiners, there's atheist
Yeah,
Bitcoiners, and it's that's a topic that when it comes up on Twitter, it gets spicy real quick for
real
obvious
spicy.
reasons.
Yeah,
So that's always kind of a fun one. And I mean, I'm the same way as you. I pretty much grew, well, same in an opposite direction. I grew up pretty atheist, or
hmm
I would say, yeah, I would say pretty atheist growing up. We didn't go to church or anything. And I would say after this experience of really opening my mind to how many things are screwed up in the world and having a much deeper understanding of how everything's screwed up, you really just get in the habit of throwing everything you used to think out the window and
yeah,
just starting from scratch and just really verifying everything yourself. And so to me, I have tipped over to the agnostic side in the
uh huh,
sense that I'm just open minded to everything. I
yeah,
still am a full believer in don't trust, verify.
yeah,
So for me, I haven't had any experiences that have really pulled me over the edge in like a
Hmm.
personal way, and that's just how I am. That's part of my criteria. And I'm the
Yeah,
same
for
way for
me.
all kinds of other woo-woo stuff like aliens, UFOs, paranormal, like ghosts. I'm so into that stuff. I think it's so cool to research and hear other people's stories and try to
Yeah,
see who's real, who's not, because I think there's
exactly.
so much to dig into there.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
I'm not gonna 100% say like it's real. I'm going for it because I haven't seen it, and I'm not gonna pretend that I've seen anything. I gotta be real.
Yeah. That's funny. That's funny with Bitcoin. It's like it's the most real thing that exists and the most like accurate form of history that exists, but it doesn't exist. You can't touch it, kind of. I
Yeah,
mean, it's
yeah.
12 words, but that's a trip for some people that you can't touch it.
It's very ephemeral, and and that's a big reason why a lot of people are skeptical. Is like,
Yeah.
what this gold bar works fine. I can just chop off little flakes to buy my groceries or whatever, and like,
Yeah,
no, you
right.
can't.
Not at all.
That people are still learning that physicality is not automatically a good thing, especially in the world we're in now, where everyone needs to be able to transact quickly
Yeah.
across the world. There's a global economy now, so
Yeah.
that's
The
why I think that Bitcoin is just going to make it happen.
yeah, and what I've been realizing more in like cuz we all have somewhat roles in Bitcoin to make this happen. And
Hmm.
I don't know how to make a lightning wallet, but I can use it and show people that it's possible. So just like I think the social layer of Bitcoin is really powerful. And I mean, it's funny, no matter how much they war about, ordinals this or change the code that or whatever, um, the infighting, but the social layer is very important. Just more touch pieces, make it make sense to more people.
And that's why I was excited to bring you on, dude, because we're in a similar place in this. I feel like we're both more focused on having fun, loving life, and having some level of trust that the technical side is just working because
Yeah.
I'm not technical at all.
Me neither.
I'm terrible at that. Like the white paper, most of it goes right over my head. When
Yeah.
I would go to these Bit Devs meetups when I was in Austin. Shout
Yeah.
out
Good
to the
luck.
Austin Bitcoin Club. All the geniuses that are like the Bitcoin builders are there. Like
Yeah.
the devs are there. They're doing their thing and they're talking about all these things. I don't know what the hell I'm listening to. I have no
Yeah.
clue what's
Not at
going
all.
on.
Trust the
But I
nerds.
talk to them. I do feel like I have a good understanding of humans and
Yeah.
psychology. So I spend a lot of time meeting these people and talking to them at these events. Like they're very well set up. We have food together. I chat with them. And I trust my intuition that these guys are smart as fuck.
Yeah.
And they've got this part handled, so I don't need to try to learn all this shit that I don't understand. I'm not even gonna go
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Something about Bitcoin is like it's this virtuous loop too. Like if you make it better, that helps everybody. That's not just going to help
Hmm.
you and your boys with your shitcoin. It's going to help everybody. And what else is this like that?
And those aligned incentives come up on every layer too. Like even
Yes.
in the podcasting world, as I'm just starting this thing out, I see a bunch of other podcasters really supporting and promoting Fountain, which is like
Hmm.
the main app where you can send lightning streams or and
Yeah.
boosts to the podcasters. And as I see all these other podcasters shouting out supporting it, I'm thinking, hell yeah, that's helping me too. Because the more
Yeah.
people we have in that ecosystem, the more like potential there is for all of us to grow and find a layer of support where we can like support this project and
Yeah.
bring more knowledge to the world. So
Yeah.
every single aspect of Bitcoin is all about you're together in this.
Yep. Same
Everything
team.
that you do to help helps everybody.
Yeah. It's like thanks, Brian Armstrong, I guess.
Man, there's so much to be excited about, dude. Um, we're hitting at about an hour here, man. I love how this was just like the most unorganized gobbledygook of topics. I wouldn't have it any other way for round one chat with you, brother. So
Me neither.
I feel like 1 hour would be a perfect spot for this. If you could summarize the message you want to share with the world in a single shareable clip, what would it be?
With the world,
Everyone's going to listen to this.
every single person. I'd want to say maybe prioritize fun and health and see how your world aligns for you.
Fun and health first. Those are the top two. I couldn't agree with you more. More surfing, more hiking, more walking barefoot everywhere. Stop giving a fuck about what people say. Take your shirt off. Go run around in the sunshine.
Yes.
Do your thing. Be you.
That's all encompassed in what I said.
Yeah, totally. It's just, that is so massive. Just reconnecting with nature, I think, is such a critically important thing that people need to do more of. And people think it's so strange that Bitcoiners are always these nature heads. It's funny.
Right? They think it's the opposite. They think we're going to be these, like, want to move in our entire worlds into cyberspace. No, we want to fix this Earth because it's where we're going to be.
It's the opposite. And when I tell people about this, their mind gets blown, because that's exactly the idea that they have, is that it's just we're all like super techies, like closed in a box and like on our computer all day. But Bitcoiners, more than anyone I've ever met, they're homesteading, they're learning how to grow their own food and spending as much time in nature as they can. They're just using Bitcoin as a tool to increase their freedom, to go be more natural humans. Yes. Which is beautiful.
It's so beautiful, and I'm so bullish and stoked to be part of this little community, which is going to be a worldwide community.
I love it, bro. Where can people follow you?
Paul in the Jungle on most platforms except for Twitter. Somebody already has that one. It's The Philosophy on Twitter.
Amazing, dude. I'll put all those links in. And thank you so much for coming by, man. I really appreciate the talk, and we will be in touch for sure for more in the future. I see more coming.
Bitcoin Ben number 12?
I'll have to. I think I could go back in the history of our secret group chat. I think I might be around number in the high 20s of the council, the high council of Bitcoin Bens. I'm in there.
Wow! So what an honor.
It's a heck of a crew. It's a strong community.
Yeah. Oh, and then of course my NPub. I don't have that memorized.
Yeah,
so
read it right now.
Go find the link in my bios.
I'll put it in there for sure, dude.
Yes, sir.
Awesome, man. So great chatting with you. Have a great day. We'll be in touch, my friend.
All right. Pura Vida.
See ya. Pura Vida.
There we go.